We are live.
Yes, we are, for another AMA. There we go. I'm trying to find the right background. And there we go. That's one of them. I got the little smiley cat on the other shoulder. I got to hit up Morty and ask him. I want that. I want smiley cats for them all instead of Brady cat.
Sad and smiley.
Yes, the smiley cat looks way better. That cat doesn't even look scared. It just looks like confused. And then this one looks happy on the other side.
Happy cat.
All righty, so random pregame chatter as we have everyone stumble into Discord and the announcement goes out. So for those of you on YouTube, welcome to the pre-call call. I guess we can officially launch the intro so the VAs know where to start from. We have August 23rd, 2022.
Should I unmute in the Discord?
I always forget to unmute in the Discord.
Yeah.
This is the LeoFinance AMA / When Soon show.
Yep. Welcome back, everybody.
I see we have the usual suspects already in the AMA chat.
Yeah, last week we got a couple. We got actually a bunch of good questions from threads. So hopefully we see a good turnout. If you guys want to post your AMA questions straight to the blockchain.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, threads that was week 1 of threads.
It was. Yeah, I mean could do a good little quick update on the Leoverse. So we just released LeoThreads 0.3 last week, which was a big performance update. So it was focused around basically just making threads faster, making it more reliable, making Lightning better and more scalable. So we spent a lot of time working on that update to basically just like hammer out the usability of threads and kind of set up the bedrock for the next couple updates. So that update really has changed, I think, the experience and usability of threads already. But obviously a lot of that is going to start coming into play with the next update. It kind of sets that foundation up for the next update, which is going to be very Lightning focused. So the next update will do a bunch of things basically to increase the scalability of Lightning, so that basically if there's a lot of threads being created simultaneously, it won't bug out the UI and slow down the back end. So the way it works basically is that the threads UI is reading straight from Lightning, which is a database on the back end. So if that database is slow, then the UI is obviously slow. If that database is catching up, then obviously the UI doesn't show threads that were in the period that it hasn't caught up yet. So improving Lightning is really, really a big step towards making threads, like that instantaneous Twitter-like experience. And in the next update, you'll kind of see that come into play. We're basically releasing like an entirely new API for Lightning. So it's going to be really cool to see that in production and the impact it has not only on threads but also on posts and comments all over the Leo UI. So obviously Lightning runs the whole thing. So it's cool that Lightning runs literally like the entire LeoFinance website at this point. But obviously with certain bottlenecks in place, we need to make it better. So that's where I've been spending a lot of focus, a lot of time is improving Lightning and basically setting threads up, setting it up to be, massively used and massively adopted. Because, I want to see 10,000 people using threads every single day. And I really think that we can achieve it because it's, it's microblogging. It's super easy. There's no limitation on how many times you can post. There's no limitation on the quality of your post. You can post, 1 letter if you want. It doesn't have to be, or just even a picture with no text. So that's the cool thing about threads. It's that game changer for Hive. But really right now we're still in that really early alpha stage. So we need to push a lot of updates and make it all better. and make the user experience a lot more smooth. So that's where the focus is right now. In 0.4, which is the next update, we're also going to release a new two main new features, which is threads on your profile page, and then we're going to add threads to the My Feed page where you can see threads from people that you follow. So if you're following, 100 Hive accounts and 10 of those Hive accounts are active on threads, if you go to My Feed after the update, then you'll be able to see threads created only by the people that you follow on the Hive blockchain. So that's going to be cool. And then obviously being able to see your own threads on your profile is going to be big, especially for replying. So that's kind of the big use case for having them on your profile, is that you can easily see old threads that you've made, and then you can reply to people who replied to you. So that's a big feature. So the next update is really going to be centered around those two features, and then that Lightning update. And that's kind of where Threads is at. And then obviously we're working on some stuff for mobile as well. Outside of that, with the DeFi stuff, CUB has been getting really interesting to me, and I know Mitch is going to love to hear it. We actually just released the DAO contract today, this morning, and now CUB is being automatically bought and burned, and it's being done with the DAO account. So the same way that PolyCUB works, but for PolyCUB, it buys back PolyCUB every month with the revenue, and then it deploys the PolyCUB it buys into the Vex PolyCUB contract. For CUB, it actually just buys it and burns it. So you're going to see that total CUB burn number go up a lot. So I was actually tracking the numbers a little bit, and we're currently on pace to burn about 200,000 CUB this month, which is pretty insane, because the total CUB burned, I have it written down. The total CUB burned up until today was 518,952 CUB burned ever since CUB existed. And in the next, in this month, we're going to burn. So basically from the last 30 days worth of revenue, we're going to burn 200,000 CUB. So it's,
Nice.
Essentially half of all the CUB that we ever burned is going to be burned this month, which is insane. And then if you take that and start extrapolating it and say, okay, well, we're burned 200,000 this month, and liquidity has been growing. If you look at the farms, liquidity for bHBD CUB is 73,000, bHIVE-CUB is 73,000, bHBD BUSD is 135,000. So as these three pools grow, you're going to see that revenue continue to increase. So 200,000 CUB gets burned this month, maybe 250,000 gets burned next month, and you kind of keep growing from there. And it's with, what is it, 17 million CUB out there. It's pretty crazy to imagine, what's going to happen when we start to really dig into that supply, and see CUB, that big demand hit for CUB. And the APYs are pretty insane on CUB right now. Like bHBD CUB is paying 60%, bHIVE-CUB is paying 62%. bHBD BUSD stablecoin pool is paying 27% APY. So
yeah, the APRs over there are juiced up compared to Poly.
Yeah, I mean, it's really crazy. So I posted some tweets that, like, there's this massive opportunity for CUB right now, which is if we all can kind of come together and build out the liquidity on the multi-token bridge for CUB, we could see a massive amount of CUB get burned every single month. Obviously CUB has had a rough patch. While we built out PolyCUB, the idea was that we were going to basically see what worked on PolyCUB and take all those features and all the contract work that we did and then move it over to CUB. And that's exactly what we did, because through the launch of PolyCUB, we basically discovered this multi-token bridge idea and what can be achieved in terms of monthly revenue from even a small amount of liquidity on a multi-token bridge. And then it's been less than a month since we ported that over to CUB.
And it's, like you said, a small amount of liquidity. I mean, there's basically it's like 150,000 between the two pools on CUB.
Yeah. I mean, there's like 150,000 on bHBD bHIVE-CUB, and then on the stablecoin one, bHBD BUSD is 135,000. So I mean, it's like under $300,000. Yeah, under 300.
I forgot about the stable. Yeah, I forgot about the stable pool.
Yeah, under 300K in liquidity is generating, thousands and thousands of dollars a month in revenue. And at these low CUB prices, that means that we're buying back a ton of CUB.
I'm probably actually going to add, I forgot. I don't know why I blanked on that. I'll probably end up pulling, ironically, I'll probably end up pulling my funds in PHBD and moving it over to the bHBD.
Yeah, we need to keep growing the liquidity. I mean, if we can, I think the entire Leoverse has really been hit hard by this bear market, and obviously a lot of DeFi has been hit pretty hard. So the fact that we've got CUB and PolyCUB, getting hit has really hurt, I think, the entire Leo ecosystem. But what we have now with this opportunity on CUB, I think, is to rebuild from the bottom. And oftentimes when you rebuild from the bottom, that's where the best opportunities present themselves. So, I've been stacking up a ton of CUB and just deploying it into these LPs as fast as I can get my hands on it. CUB liquidity is actually extremely good because I've been buying a bunch, and it doesn't necessarily move the price that much. You can buy $1,000 without moving the price too much.
No.
So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's like, what is it, 180,000 in the CUB kingdom, and then hundreds of thousands in CUB farms, especially with the new bHBD and bHIVE CUB farms. So there's a really solid amount of liquidity out there for CUB, which is great. It's great for the health of the CUB ecosystem. So I've been getting really bullish on CUB lately. I think we've got a really cool opportunity to build out the bridge. And especially considering that, with $73,000 in like the bHIVE CUB pool, for example, it's still paying a 62% APY. So, that amount of liquidity could essentially triple. So we go from 70,000 to over 200,000, and the APY will still be over 20%. And that's on Hive. So, if you stake Hive directly on the blockchain, you'll earn maybe 10%, 12% if you're a good curator. And that's obviously, you have to still do curation and be active on the Hive blockchain. And then also you have to stake your Hive for the 13-week power down time. Versus you could LP it on CUB and make 20% APY and have instant liquidity. So yeah, I think there's something interesting going on here that we can all come together and build out. But yeah, the thing with CUB is that it's only going to work if the whole community kind of backs it up and works on building out that bridge liquidity. That is really the key metric to growing CUB, because with the way that the buyback and burn model works is that, if we can get, and I posted a tweet about this, if we can get critical mass liquidity on CUB, it's going to be incredible in terms of how much CUB gets burned every month, and really just eat away at that inflation that we had over the last year. So I'm obviously super excited about what we can do with CUB. We really just need to breach. And someone replied, what is critical mass liquidity? Which is a great question. It's hard to say because there's so many dynamics. Even on a small amount of liquidity, the arbitrage mechanism and the wrapping fees can be astronomical. So if you kind of extrapolate what PolyCUB did, which is earn, I think it was about $10,000 or $11,000 last month, on, I think there was 500,000 in bridge liquidity. So if you kind of take that and overlay it to CUB and say, okay, well, CUB's going to earn probably a similar amount of money when it hits 500,000 in liquidity. That's $10,000 worth of CUB getting burned in a month, which I think comes out to like, what is it, right around 500,000 CUB, which is more CUB than we've burned since the launch of CUB. So that's pretty insane. What is that? That is 5. That's like 3%. Is that 3%? Yeah, 3% of the CUB supply getting burned every single month. So over the course of a year, that would be insane. So yeah, I'm excited.
I'm gonna sit and wait for burn number to go up.
Yeah, so that's going to be the key, right? If you are curious about investing in CUB and LPing assets on CUB, and I know that confidence has wavered on CUB a lot just because people looked at it as nothing was happening, even though what we were doing was build out contracts and test them and then bring them back to CUB. You know, I know that confidence took a hit during that time that it took us to develop all that stuff. But, you know, if you're looking for a reason to get bullish on CUB again, what I'm looking at is that burn number. And then, you know, obviously that burn number, and then also the amount of assets LP'd on bHIVE, bHBD, and bHBD BUSD. So, you know, kind of keeping an eye on those metrics is what's going to tell you, you know, when the turnaround point for CUB is. But I'm loving these CUB prices. I mean, I'm loving them both from a selfish personal perspective where I can buy cheap CUB, but I'm also loving them from the treasury perspective where the protocol is able to buy, you know, 200,000 CUB for like $4,000 and burn it. So, you know, if the price was 20 cents, obviously it wouldn't be burning nearly as much CUB tokens in terms of actual tokens. So we're reaching this really sustainable economy, in my opinion. And it's just kind of unfolding right in front of us.
I like it. I like it. I'm just organically adding to the pool. So like I have some Hive that I might repurchase now. I got an order sitting now because I sold some Hive on the random pump we had gotten a couple weeks ago. And with the plan to buy it back cheaper and then throw it in the pool while let my CUB stack, you know, on its own. So I got a nice little chunk, not anything crazy, but a little chunk to add to the bHIVE pool. So I might just finally get around to buying some Hive now since it's back down to 54 cents, which is essentially where the pump started. But I don't know. I'd like to see it maybe get down into the mid 40s, buy it back even cheaper.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So, but yeah, there's opportunity. And, you know, yeah, obviously, you know, I got a large bag of CUB and I kept it. So now I'm just letting the snowball grow. So I'm going to continue to take my CUB earned and throw it into these pools because it's like, you know, self-fulfilling kind of prophecy. I'm getting, you know, a good APR. And on top of that, it's leading to more CUB being burned, which is only a positive. So I'm going to be part of the solution instead of part of the problem.
Build it out, build it out.
So, are you paying attention to the LeoFinance threads for the AMA? I got to bring it up.
I got a question from my free BTC, which kind of leads into what we were already talking about with the monthly reporting. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of good information about protocol and liquidity, multi-token bridge assets, and you know, just a lot of transparency for the buybacks and obviously for PolyCUB, that's buyback and distribute to Vex PolyCUB. For CUB, that's buyback and burn. And you know, if you saw that last report, I think it was like 12 pages. It was pretty cool to release all that information and see how people reacted to, you know, the amount of revenue that PolyCUB is generating on a small number of assets. So, you know, that entire model being ported over to CUB is super interesting. I think that first CUB report will be out probably within the next week. Yeah, it'll be before, I believe it'll be before the first of the month. So we'll have that report out and then you'll see, you know, some transparency on how much CUB was burned, you know, what the revenue is like, plans to grow that revenue and grow CUB and you know, reach new highs. Cause I think what we're all looking for is, you know, a great CUB recovery. I saw someone post something like make CUB great again, which I think was kind of funny.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'll take one of those hats, please.
I mean, it's happening. I'm excited. You know, we're seeing that protocol revenue buyback CUB, and that's going to be that leading metric.
Nice.
What else we got? Morty asked, any news on the iOS approval? Right now, the app is not loading anything. Yeah, so the iOS approval, I talked about it before. I mean, it's been a lot of just back and forth. Basically, the way that Apple works is that they ask you, you know, they ask you some random thing. They ask you to fix some random thing that they think is broken. You fix it, and then they say, oh, but then also this. And we've basically been in this cycle with them for the last, I don't know, 8 to 12 weeks. I think it took us almost 3 or 4 months, I don't remember, to get into test flight. So that was because they just kept asking us to add different things, like the most random thing you would never even think about, like a link somewhere deep in the app back to the Apple Store, or a link somewhere in the app to the privacy policy, just really random things that they ask for. So yeah, they don't ever give you a timeline. And every time we send them a reply, it takes about 3 days to get something back. So it's super fun. But if you are an Android user, we got approved on day 1. We uploaded it and got approved 6 hours later.
You literally read my mind, because all my response to this whole thing was going to be Android for the win.
Yeah.
I am
It's
Android
pretty
for
crazy
life.
how fast. It's pretty
Or it's
crazy how fast
iPhone.
Android worked.
Although I haven't actually tried to open it since last week when I couldn't fucking, I think I need to reinstall it after all the updates. I don't even know if I want to try it now. I'm just gonna,
Yeah.
because I said I'm gonna uninstall and reinstall, make sure I have like the latest version and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna leave it be and do it later. I don't want to add any additional stress to my internet that was a little iffy before we got on.
Yeah,
So
the mobile app is with this new Lightning update, hopefully the mobile app will be a lot smoother too. So we'll see how that goes.
good old mobile app. Let's see what we got here in the AMA. What was this? Did you see this one? My free BTC's BTC.
Oh yeah, I think I got them on Threads. I think you posted on Threads too.
About the Polygon addresses.
Yeah, for POL.
Yeah, and actually that's a great idea. It would also be cool to include them on the monthly reports for people. I think that's actually a great idea, because that's simple enough. You know, you just have a template anyway, I'm assuming, for the monthly report, where then it's just, it's updating the stats. So at the whatever, even at the end of the post has the and I think that'd be great too for the CUB monthly report as well.
Yeah, so CUB, the interesting thing is that it's going to be focused on the buyback of burn. So it's actually not going to deploy anything into protocol and liquidity. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how those models reflect each other. Because CUB is just going to look to burn as much CUB as it can, especially at these prices.
Yeah. Well, I guess also I just didn't, I wasn't thinking just the POL assets. I was thinking just fucking all the contract addresses.
Yeah.
Just so it's like somewhere, easy and out there. You know how it is. The easier stuff, it is for stuff to find, the more it tends to get used.
Yeah, that's true.
Or, people aren't chasing it or giving up because they can't find it.
Yep.
So I feel like Flynn's question goes back to questions I stopped asking months ago, when he says, when Thor CUB? Apparently Dash is being integrated with Thor and Monero isn't far behind. So his response was dat liquidity.
Yeah, hopefully we see Thor chain integrate some BNB smart chain. And then, once they do, off to the races.
Yeah, and Thor CUB is. Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I can say. And when it comes to any interaction with another chain, one thing you don't have to probably ask Cal is when Thor, because like he's a complete Thor chain fanboy. So I know he wants to get the Leo universe in one way or another connected to and or running through some Thor chain.
Absolutely. And we are working on B rune and P rune.
Nice.
So that'll be multi-token bridge version of Rune.
Some B rune and P rune. That'll be pretty awesome.
So that's gonna generate a ton of revenue for us too.
I'll definitely be partaking. I mean, I don't have a ton of room, but as far as like my crypto holdings, it's probably, it's definitely in the top 3. I mean, I got a chunk. I don't have a cow-like chunk of Rune, but I got enough. Actually, no, I need more. MOAR more. I bought some on, the dip a month ago. It was that and Atom were the only alts I actually bought. I think I've mentioned this on past calls. I bought Bitcoin, and then I ended up buying a little bit of Atom just because I wanted some exposure to the Cosmos blockchain, and then I added to my Rune bag.
Yeah, Rune is looking good right now, price wise.
Yeah, I should have bought even more. I mean, I just, it wasn't anything crazy, but
Yeah.
it was just like some free capital I had. I think, I don't know, it might have been from, I think it might have been some stable that I didn't use. Like I did a pool, and after I converted everything, I think I had, quote unquote leftover stable, and I was like, you know what, this is going into Rune, which I think I got at like 205. I didn't get it under 2, which would have been really sweet.
Yeah, I got a little bit under 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
My problem was I was waiting for another like doomsday leg down, and I was looking to buy like Matic at 50 cents and Rune at like 90 cents, I think, something like that. It was a sub $1 number I was looking at. Same thing. I was looking at Ethereum at like 750. So I was kind of like waiting for that one more leg down that we haven't gotten, and we may get or we may not. Obviously Ethereum's, up at 1,500 now. So anyone that bought Ethereum when it ducked under 1,000 for, a short while, pretty much crushed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Rune actually trended. Yeah, Rune was up at, close to $3 last week, and now it's back down at 215. So I'm barely positive. Yeah, that support levels at like 165. That's a great place to buy Rune. Yeah, I think after that I was looking at 80 cents. I think it was around if it broke that support level.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how cheap crypto is getting. I mean, this is the bear market for sure.
Yeah. I mean, well, if you think about it, like Rune was $13 back in April. Like 4.5 months ago, like April 1, pretty much it topped out.
Yeah.
So 4.5 months ago, this thing was like, that's bananas. It was 6 times the price it is right now, just 4.5 months ago.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta stop riding this shit all the way back down every time. Ride it up, ride it down, ride it up, ride it down. It reminds me of a 80s classic 80s song, Don Henley. Hit them when they're up, hit them when they're down, hit them when they're up, hit them when they're down. Anyway, I don't think there's any other questions in the AMA chat. That's funny. Morty said, when Mars, and my free BTC said, when PolyCUB inflation halves to 0.03125 per block, I think. I like it. Hopefully you're right, sir. And then we can earn a free BTC. There we go. What did bHIVE say? How do you think the crypto market will react once Ethereum 2.0 merge is completed?
Good question.
That is something to ponder. I'm sure you have your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a big proponent of Ethereum for a lot of different reasons. But, I don't really know that the ETH 2.0 merge has much of an impact on crypto in general. Definitely, obviously a fan of Ethereum and it moving its technology along, but I just don't see the fundamental crossover into value for Ethereum. But that being said, I mean, there was a moment recently that, you know, I forgot what happened. Something merged in the test net, and then, you know, people went crazy and Ethereum's price went up. So yeah, I see that as being, you know, people have talked about Ethereum 2.0 since crypto has existed, basically. You know, it's, in my opinion, if it's not priced in, it's price irrelevant. Like it's, I just don't see it having, I don't see it having a huge impact.
Yeah.
I think it could
I've
have
kind
a
of
huge impact on the usability of Ethereum, but I don't think it'll have a huge impact on the price of Ethereum. What do you think?
I mean, somewhat similar, because I mean, you know, like you said, kind of, I think the bar of the room is still the news. You know, obviously Ethereum's had quite the little run, you know, leading into the merge, which is basically supposed to only be, you know, a few weeks away. So price wise, kind of the same boat. I feel like there may be like even a sell off afterwards, and then it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because one of the catalysts, I think, for Ethereum in terms of just price wise was obviously, you know, these expensive fees. And obviously, you know, Ethereum getting burned as well when they made that update. I don't know how those dynamics play out once it changes to proof of stake. So, you know, it may lose some price positive catalysts in that regard. But as far as, you know, usability and crypto growth, I think it's obviously good, because it should, at least ideally, that's the, you know, the whole idea of this is making the usability better, you know, and more accessible, obviously, without having the roadblock of slow transaction times, expensive transactions, right? So I think it's good for crypto in terms of growth, in terms of projects, but I don't know if it's going to have, you know, a price impact on crypto.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting.
yeah, I agree.
So we got some more questions coming in. Lynn asked if there's plans for a bridge to Cosmos, as that's a nice growing space and there's some interesting projects being built there, plus liquidity from the DEXs.
Where is that question?
Oh, it's in the AMA chat.
Oh, plans for Bridge to Cosmos is there.
I don't think
Yeah, Cosmos is
there.
interesting. I've been watching it closely. I haven't used anything on the Cosmos. I know that they just had a huge issue with one of their bridges. But yeah, I mean, I'm watching all these different chains and looking for either an opportunity for us to bridge over and utilize something on those chains and integrate it into Leo, or looking for even just inspiration for different ideas and contracts that we can integrate into things like CUB, PolyCUB, and Leo. You know, keeping an eye on the entire crypto space is kind of like my full-time job, just because that's what gives us the, you know, basically the toolkits we need to keep building Leo and the Leoverse.
Yep. Apparently, what do we got? Delayed geyser. One Alpha's asking about the geyser.
Yeah, I've been working with the dev actually very closely recently, trying to figure out the geyser, because we're trying to move it to basically, if you didn't know, before we had the geyser kind of like on this script model where it distributed it kind of the way that Leo.voter distributes Leo. Now we're trying to move it to a smart contract where it would just run all the time. So yeah, progress on that has been a lot slower than I expected, but I am hoping to have it back on track for the first of every month, running through a contract, so it's just verifiably secure and consistent. That's where that's going. A lot of the technology that I've been working on lately, you know, whether it's Geyser or you know, CUB or PolyCUB, or even Leo, and like with Leo ads and the Leo ad distribution model, we're looking for ways to automate and, automate and streamline everything. We want it to be where essentially everything just kind of runs without us having to click buttons and do stuff. That's where a lot of the focus has gone lately. So, obviously things like LeoDex and Leo.voter and, now the Vex PolyCUB contract, these things run without anybody clicking any buttons. And then the PolyCUB DAO as well, where people can vote on different aspects of PolyCUB. It's really insane to think about how much manual effort it takes to do a lot of things in the Leoverse. And all these new technologies that we're building are aimed at streamlining everything so that it takes very little to no manual intervention at all to keep things running. And then also we can basically take a lot of time we spend right now on maintaining old things, and we can focus on building new things and letting the old things just run on their own. That's where the focus has been. And I think that's kind of a bear market thing to do, is to kind of clean up all the code, refactor things, and make sure that things look good, and are running with consistent strength. So that's where I've been throwing a lot of my focus, whether it's LeoFinance, Lightning, Leo Infra, the Geyser, PolyCUB, CUB. It's all being focused on streamlining things and making them more efficient. Because we have a much bigger team now, so it's pretty crazy. And
that
Alex
kind of leads in. Well, yeah, I was going to bring that up. That kind of leads into a two-part question, which started with bHIVE when he said, "What are the Hive projects are you thrilled about, if any?" And then Alex added to that saying, "How can LeoFinance boost other or benefit from other Hive projects?"
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff going on out there on Hive. Most people who know that I'm a pretty big user of 3Speak. So, from these AMAs, I have a VA that clips all the good clips that we talk about, different things, whether it's like a Leo update or even the crypto markets or something. She takes out, all the clips, and then I upload them to 3Speak, and that obviously goes to my Hive account. So I'm a pretty big user of 3Speak, and I like what they're doing. Outside of that, I mean, PeakD is a great interface. I know ECNC has started to do some things lately. Hive is really interesting because it's so diverse, obviously, and there's so many things that you can do on it now. But I remember when I came to Hive, and it was called Steam, obviously, there was pretty much nothing to do other than blog and reply to other people's blogs. And now you've got microblogging with LeoThreads, you've got Splinterlands where you can play games, you got 3Speak where you can upload videos. So the Hive projects that I'm excited about are the ones that are doing things that are different than just blogging and just that basic long form content, basically setup. Anything that's not doing that is exciting to me. So I'm excited about Splinterlands, 3Speak, LeoThreads, obviously. I think there's some really cool stuff happening on Hive. And in terms of benefiting or boosting up other Hive projects, it's actually kind of an interestingly timed question, because I just right before this got off the call with a Nomad Soul who's in charge of business development for us. And he's working with a bunch of different Hive projects and Hive communities to, basically work with Leo and build out relationships with Leo and also, boost up their community while kind of cross-pollinating with our community. There's a lot of cool low-hanging fruit that we never took advantage of in terms of, networking and working with other projects on Hive and kind of building together. So I think there's a lot that we can do on that front, and a Nomad Soul is on it now, and he's doing a great job with reaching out to different people on Hive and working with them to do stuff. So, we have in the Leo community, we have a lot of influence on Hive, but we also tend to kind of sit in our echo chamber of Hive. There's a lot of reasons for that. There's some things that aren't as fun about the rest of Hive that are more fun on Leo that you don't have to worry about. But there's also, benefits, for every negative, I think there's 3 benefits at least. So it's, the benefits of using the rest of Hive is a lot greater than any potential downsides of, political issues or whatever that happens on Hive. I think there's a lot more upside to being more connected and more networked in the Hive ecosystem. So and you can also see that with bHIVE, bHBD, pHIVE, PHBD. We're not just, I think a lot of people like to mark us, especially the Hive old guard, love to mark Leo as a Hive hater, which is honestly hilarious to me because all of our technology is built on Hive. I mean, it's crazy. Like all of the Leo social technology is built on Hive. Lightning indexes Hive content. LeoThreads is using the Hive blockchain to store comment data. We use the Leo token on custom JSON data on the Hive blockchain. And then if you look at the DeFi side, we've got bridges for HBD and Hive are the main assets on our bridges. So it's kind of hilarious to see that when people think that Leo is a Hive hater, because if anything, we're one of the #1 projects that are aiming to build Hive and make it a usable blockchain. Because at the end of the day, what needs to be marketed to, what needs to be brought to Hive is not necessarily more users, but more entrepreneurs and project builders. That's what needs to be brought to Hive, because the entrepreneurs and project builders have that inherent value incentive to grow their project, which ultimately grows Hive. So, look at Hive as this big, hive mind where we've got this base level technology that is really amazing. It has, basically no downtime. It's very reliable, consistent, decentralized. And we can all build projects on this base layer. And if we build our own projects, then we are building other people's projects at the same time. If Leo gains 100 more users, then those are 100 more users for Hive as a blockchain. And those 100 users may learn about Splinterlands from a Leo post or a Leo thread. They may learn about ThreeSpeak, and then they may start using that app too. And then there's instant cross-pollination there. And the same goes for 100 more users coming to ThreeSpeak or 100 more users coming to Splinterlands. They're all being pollinated back to that base layer. And if we all can, collectively work together and build up, each other's projects, I think that's the key. And I would love to see more of that on Hive. I think a lot of people like to play little political games and, kiss the ring type of games. But if you can just remember that we all kind of have that same mission, we all basically have the same mission, but we all label it different ways, and we all have, our built-in incentives with our own projects. But if you really understand what's happening and you dig deeper than just the surface, you can see that really every project on Hive has the same ambition, which is to grow users on Hive.
Indeed, rising tide lifts all boats. So one alpha asked when PIP3 and when governance on CUB.
Yeah, PIP3 is going to be soon. The date has not been announced yet. So the PolyCUB improvement, in case you don't know, the PIP stands for PolyCUB Improvement Proposal, and it's basically our own proposal system on top of PolyCUB. And it allows anyone to vote on, governance proposals that can change the way that PolyCUB, basically the way that PolyCUB works. The next governance proposal is going to be really interesting. I've been working with the devs and a few other people in LeoFinance to put together this proposal. And then, we're gonna launch it and see what people think. It's gonna be interesting. I'm curious to see what people react to when it comes to this proposal. I think it's gonna be probably the most important proposal that is ever released on the PIP system. At least, I mean, it's definitely the most important one so far, but for the foreseeable future, I think it's going to be a really important one. And it's going to be centered around this idea of, if you look at that monthly report again and how much revenue is generated, it's going to be centered around building that revenue as opposed to letting the revenue dwindle away. And I think there's a lot that we can do to build that revenue, but it's going to take kind of a creative way of thinking, and you're going to have to see past the kind of, just like the conversation we just had. You're gonna have to see past the surface to see what we're trying to achieve with this revenue. You know, the revenue last month was like 10 or 11,000 just from the multi-token bridge, having like 500,000 in assets. So this is going to be centered around building up that bridge, getting more assets, getting more people involved, and really building PolyCUB back up from the bottom. You know, just the same as CUB and Leo. You know, we've gotten hit harder than most assets in this bear market, and I think there's a lot of different reasons for that. But we've got this unique opportunity with the multi-token bridge to build that up from ground zero, and in doing that, we can lay some bedrock foundation that will build us for the future. When you look at anything Leo related, it's all for that, you know, that 10-year vision. It's, you know, we've never done anything that's just good for the next, you know, 1 month or 2 weeks. You know, that's never been what we've been about. It's always about that long-term, building something sustainable that can benefit everybody who uses LeoFinance and the LeoVerse. So everything we do on that front is going to be aimed at that mission. So that's what PIP3 is going to be about. And CUB governance is going to be obviously the same system that we use on PolyCUB, just kind of ironing out that system and then moving it over to CUB. And then anyone who holds CUB will be able to vote on governance proposals and then yield governance. So it's really cool. But, you know, at the core of, you know, when you look at governance or, you know, VEX PolyCUB or CUB, at the core is that multi-token bridge revenue and buying back the asset. So at the core of, you know, CUB and growing it back to, you know, $3, which is what we'd all love to see. At the core of that is at this bottom level price, you know, actually we kind of want the price of CUB to stay low for a long time. You know, a part of me hopes that CUB stays at 2 cents for the next, you know, year or 2 years or 3 years, because what that means is that protocol revenue is going to be, you know, right now it's, you know, well over 4,000, then it's going to be 6,000, then it's going to be 8, then 10, then 20, you know, per month. And we take that money and we buy back CUB every single month, and we're burning an astronomical amount of CUB at these low prices. So, you know, if you want to build up CUB, don't buy too much so that the price doesn't go up too much. Instead, you should LP assets. So just LP bridge assets. So Hive and HBD. If you bridge them over to CUB and LP them, that's how you're going to grow CUB. Not by actually buying CUB, because we want the price to stay low so that the multi-token bridge can do its job and burn a bunch of CUB off the market. And we're just seeing that kind of start to play out, you know, literally as of this morning. So, you know, let's see what happens. I'm curious to see.
Absolutely. Personally, I'm obviously more vested in governance votes on CUB just because I have a little more weight on that platform. So it'll be fun to see, you know, the decisions that we get
with the governance update. There's also going to be, I forgot to mention, there's also going to be a variable staking contract added to CUB. So like the voting escrow CUB is going to look a little bit different than the voting escrow PolyCUB. And it's going to be like a variable staking contract, kind of like what's on Cake. So if you actually go to Pancake Swap, they have a variable staking contract on the Cake token where you can lock it for, you can basically specify a certain amount of days that you want to lock your Cake for in the single stake farm. And the longer you lock it for, the higher your APY. So we're going to use basically the same contract for CUB. So the process right now is porting that over and then also building up the multi-token bridge.
Nice. Yeah, more liquidity in the bridges.
Yeah,
make it happen.
Yeah, so the plan this month is, you know, from that liquidity to burn 200,000 CUB. That's kind of the pace that we're at right now. So I think this morning only the DAO has only bought back once so far, because we literally just launched the contract this morning, but it bought back 7,000 CUB, and obviously it's got a lot to buy back. But yeah, based on the revenue, it's going to be probably about 200,000.
Cool.
And then in that monthly report, you'll be able to see, I think the monthly report will be out in the next 7 days. And you'll see basically how much CUB has been burned. You'll get to see all the transactions. Same thing that you got to see with PolyCUB, how much revenue was generated, where the revenue came from, stuff like that. But yeah, if you want to do your part, just add some liquidity. That's all you gotta do. Earn your 60% APY, which is insane.
I think we're caught up in Discord. I don't know if you got anything on the threads.
Let's see, let me refresh. Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty caught up.
Sweet. Well, I mean, what we got bHIVE would just do something in. Oh, are any of you guys coming to Hive Fest in Amsterdam? I'm definitely not, but I don't know if Cal is. Obviously, really doesn't make any sense for me to go. I can't go anyway. Those dates. I got stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hike to get out there. Amsterdam is super far. I think it's like
it is. Actually, I didn't think about that. Though. That is a good question, though.
For me.
Yeah. So it sounds like a no.
Potentially, yeah. I haven't decided. I'm like
no?
With my with my schedule, it's I can't really commit to anything that's more than like a week away. So I'll probably decide like 1 week before Hive Fest if I'm going. I'd say right now it's probably like a 50-50. Like
that just kind of depends. Expensive flight.
Yeah, I mean, all my flights are super expensive. I don't really travel a whole lot, but yeah, I mean, it's always crazy for me just because I can't commit too far out with all the things going on with devs and meetings and working on the project. It's just sucks up all my time. Yeah.
So it's a Thursday to what is that? Oh, Thursday. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's interesting. So kind of just sneak away for a long weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is obviously the flight's a hike.
Flight is a hike, yeah. Usually I can work on the flight though, so
yeah. Can you fly direct?
I don't think I can fly direct from here.
Okay.
I've actually been to Amsterdam before. And I flew into Iceland. Then I flew from Iceland to Amsterdam.
That makes sense. I've seen that even for because you can fly direct from New York, but they also have ones that have layovers, and it's the same thing. It's Iceland.
Yeah.
Depends on the area.
Nomad Soul said when Leo Fest. Probably soon.
I saw. Soon. I like that question better.
I want to make it big. I want to do when we do Leo Fest, it's going to be big, and it's not going to be like. I don't even think it's going to be really that Leo focused. I mean, there's definitely going to be obviously Leo logos and banners and Leo ads like everywhere, but I'm thinking we should do like a conference, like a crypto conference, and it's called Leo Fest, obviously, and it's hosted by Leo, but it's not, people don't want to come to a conference to hear about Leo. They want to come to a conference to hear about crypto and meet crypto people and network. So I think we're going to do something really cool. I want to get some good speakers out there.
Yeah, that would be badass.
Yeah, do something really cool, and try to put it in a place that's like a good neutral location for everybody. Because, Amsterdam's awesome, and like I said, I've been there, and it's a cool city. But, it's for some people, it's just super far away and expensive, and it's not the most achievable place for a lot of different people. So,
well, that's the
biggest thing. But I do love Amsterdam, and I know that they can throw great events there. So don't want to talk shit about it.
No, Amsterdam's awesome. I mean, it's just difference with for instance, obviously, I'm doing the event with Walter in October, and it's in Orlando, and that's a great location because basically everyone's US based. You know what I mean? With crypto, you have more of a global audience. So it's just like, well, what's the best location? And that becomes a little bit more of a not dilemma, just equation, so to speak, to figure out, because you got people from every corner of the world essentially.
Yeah.
So But yeah, I think that's a great idea. Basically a crypto general event sponsored by LeoFinance, and obviously LeoFinance, has a big presence there, and,
Yep.
has a lot of, plenty of presentations and whatnot.
Yep. 100%.
But
Sweet. I mean, that puts us right at an hour. I don't know if you
there you
wanted
go.
to,
Boom. I'm spamming right now. There you go.
there you go.
100 millionaire summit, baby.
Good old
There will
Mitch
be
right
crypto
there.
talk. That will be me.
Nice.
This is it. Yeah, that's obviously more real estate and even just mindset. The one guy, Doug, he used to coach under Tony Robbins for years. So you're basically getting like a Tony Robbins seminar, a real estate seminar, and a little crypto talk all at one event. But yeah, Orlando's great for events, honestly, because at least US based, because there's, no matter where you live, there's flights to Orlando, because it's a tourist destination, and you got Disney and you got all the things, right? Even cruises out of Port Canaveral, I mean, you fly into Orlando. So,
Yep.
Same thing with Miami. I mean, and, Miami's become like the crypto capital for events. I've been to so many events down in Miami for crypto, because they're just two destinations that it's just a lot of accessibility travel wise, at least for people that are in, United States, people that are in Canada. Although I guess even coming from Europe to Miami is not, that's a hub. I mean, anytime I flew to Europe, I flew out of Miami because that's where all the options are. But yes, as a Nomad Soul said, visa for US sugs. Yes, it does. It sugs. Yeah, it's easier for us US folks to go to Europe, I feel like, than it is the other way around. You don't got to sell me on Cancun. I like that idea.
Sounds awesome.
Shit, let's go to Roatan. Roatan is like super pro crypto, and plus my good buddy's going to be living there. He's got a 5-unit Airbnb. So there we go. We got lodging for 4 people already. Now I just got to find a hotel for everyone else. And Rotan's easy to get into. And pretty much everybody speaks English, and then Spanish is the other language. That's funny. Getting a US visa is a work of art. I hear you. I know the struggle. I got an ex-girlfriend from Germany. I know way more about all that than I would otherwise for myself.
Yeah, that should be the tagline for Leo Fest in Cancun.
I'm with
Crypto
it.
all day, party all night, wasted pics on chain next week.
I like it.
I'm a fan of that.
We could
Fan of
do
that.
we can go to the new hotspot. We can do Tulum, Mexico. That's the
Tulum
new
is cool.
hotspot.
Yeah, I've been to Tulum. It's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't been. My brother's been like 3 times in like
Really?
the last like 6 months. Yeah, he's got
You
one
would
boy
love
that.
it.
Oh, I'm sure I would.
I think it's like the Miami of Mexico, if I had to say,
Perfect.
put like a good parallel.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know the crypto scene is huge in Tulum. I haven't been there in a while. I went
Oh,
a while
wow.
back,
I didn't
but
realize that either. So I'm sold. Let's do it. It is
yeah,
super
let's do
cheap
it.
there too. It's so cheap.
Tulum is expensive.
What?
Tulum
No,
is
it's not.
expensive. Yeah, it's like Miami prices.
What? My brother was just there. He was telling me he was like eat, go to a restaurant and eat like a baller for like $30. Like, it was,
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on where you go.
and his boy that was there, like he was renting some baller house for like 8 months. And I mean, it wasn't cheap, but like it was still a steal, like relative to what that would have cost for that same house in Miami.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's still Mexico, but I mean, like a couple restaurants I went to, the prices were just insane. I mean, it was like
Maybe
unbelievable.
I'm sure prices have been going up because I mean, for the last like 2 years now, it's like Americans have just fled there for vacation, especially like in peak COVID.
Yeah.
So
Well, the cool
people
thing about
finally,
Tulum was that it's like kind of like a private island almost. Like
yeah,
it's not like being in the rest of Mexico.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing too. Don't you have to like you fly in and then isn't it, what is it, like a good like hour and a half away or something from the airport?
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half from Cancun. You fly into Cancun, then it's like an hour and a half from there.
Well, maybe Cancun gets the win, so hundreds of people don't have to travel that extra hour and a half.
Yeah,
I've actually never been to Cancun, so
Cancun
I'm
is
all for
nice.
it.
Cancun's nice.
Yeah, I've
Gets
done
a
a
little
lot of
sketchy
places.
sometimes, but it's
Wow,
nice.
Mexico on a whole gives me that vibe.
It's cool. I love Mexico though. I actually go. Mexico is probably the number one place I go when I need like just a week to figure myself out.
Nice. That's
Haven't been in a
interesting.
while though.
What and I know my soul just said makes a lot of sense though. It sounds like it is the right destination then, because it's definitely easy from the US and like Europe flies directly, and South America can also get in easier because that's great. Easier to Mexico because we're both shitholes. I don't even know where I know my soul is. For a while, I thought he was US based and he was American, and then I
He's in
saw
Mexico.
something. Yeah, I heard an accent. I was like, oh shit. I was like, there you go. I didn't realize he was in Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, his his typed English is up to snuff, where I thought he was a US clown like us. I could have went to Mexico City for a work trip one time. I was in Buenos Aires for work, and then last minute my boss wanted me to go straight to Mexico City, but I totally pussed out. I was just like, I speak no Spanish and I really don't want to go to Mexico City solo. I was in Buenos Aires with a coworker that was fluent in Spanish, but and I was being a scaredy cat. And then on top of that, obviously, like I wasn't really prepared for it. Had I been home and maybe been able to like, schedule the trip out. So yeah, I passed on that. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I think I'm just gonna come home.
Security cat gone Mexico.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, there was a couple trips I could have went on for work that I said no to. Looking back on, I wish I would have not done that. But there was plenty I did go on. So Buenos
Yeah.
Aires was because of work. Switzerland was because of work. So I got to go to a handful of cool places. But anyway, so yeah, sounds like we're caught up on questions,
I
and
think so.
I'm just rambling personal experiences. So
Yeah.
we can call it a wrap. I'm gonna go find some
Sure.
food. I'm gonna bang out this weekly Wen show recap. I actually got it started a little bit while we were on the call, so I'll see what I can get in there off of memory.
Sweet. Sounds good. We
Until
will
next
catch
week.
everybody next week. It'll be the 30th.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. August will be done.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
then
want to see, let's make a little goal. I want to see at least 150,000. Actually, I want to see at least 175,000 in the bHBD BUSD pool. It's at 135 right now, so it's only 40 more. And then I want to see at least 100,000 in bHBD CUB and bHIVE CUB. So they're at 75 each. So that's
cool.
what, 25,000 more there, 25,000 more in the other, and then 40 more in the stablecoin pool. So
Well,
if you're listening to this, go LP some stuff.
I'll be adding a whopping like $400 or $500 into the bHIVE probably by the end of the day.
I like it.
But
I like
that's
it.
just because I got a ton of CUB available, but it's only worth a couple $100.
That's what we need. It's all we
But
need.
it's going in. Gonna go back and buy back some of that hive I sold. At least I'm buying back like 25 cents below where I sold.
Profit is profit.
Coolness. Yeah, exactly. Well, that was the whole reason of selling the pump. I didn't luckily watch it. I mean, luckily I got, I sold at 81 cents, but unfortunately I wasn't able to catch it when it was, above 90. And, when it got close to $1, I was hoping for that pump above $1. If it got above $1, I was selling, but
Yeah.
no dice
Nope.
until the next pump.
Till the next pump.
We'll see
All
you
right.
guys on the other side.
Yep. See you next week.
Peace out.